Pick up your phone and dial 911. In 2026, that call sounds less like a public utility and more like a call to a struggling cable provider. The reality on the ground is stark. Average response times for public emergency calls in major cities have hit 18.4 minutes, a 35% jump since 2023. Imagine waiting nearly 20 minutes for a squad car while your front door is being kicked in. Let that sink in. On the other side of the street, in what they're calling gold zones, the response time isn't 18 minutes. It's 3.2. By the time you've finished explaining the crisis, a private response drone is already hovering over your driveway. It's not government efficiency, it's a subscription. We're witnessing the end of universal public safety, replaced by a tiered system where help depends on your monthly plan. Your taxes are still being collected, but they no longer buy you time. Time has been privatized. Entire zip codes are seeing the public police effectively check out, leaving patrols to private contractors who answer to shareholders rather than voters. If the city isn't coming to save you, the question becomes, how much are you willing to pay for the privilege of peace of mind? This shift wasn't a sudden coup. It was a $150 billion math problem known as the Municipal Maturity Wall. In early 2026, local governments hit a fiscal cliff. For years, cities gorged on cheap debt, but as that debt came due to be refinanced at 7% or higher, municipal budgets simply snapped. Debt service costs began eating up 40% of tax revenue, leaving little for actual services. The first casualty was the police department. We're looking at an average cut of 22% to public safety budgets nationwide. When the math stops working, the uniforms start disappearing from the streets. Default rates on municipal bonds have spiked by 180%. And as those public departments implement priority-only responses, a vacuum is created. If it isn't a life-threatening felony in progress, you're on your own. This is a classic economic pivot, a catastrophic public failure creating a private goldmine. As public uniforms fade, a new kind of force is stepping in, one that doesn't care about your voting record, only your credit score. While public budgets bled out, venture capital poured into RAS, response as a service. The private security market is now valued at over $310 billion, a 42% jump since 2024. This isn't just small-time guard companies, we're seeing the rise of security REITs. These real estate investment trusts don't just own the apartment building. They own the entire security infrastructure surrounding it. Firms linked to Blackstone and BlackRock have increased stakes in private paramilitary and tech security startups by 300%. They are buying up decommissioned police assets, cruisers, surveillance tech, and talent. For every one public police officer on the street today, there are 3.5 private contractors. The brain drain is massive. Why stay in a public department with a frozen salary when a security rat pays double to pilot AI-driven drones? These firms bundle neighborhoods into managed safety zones, integrating premium fees directly into HOAs or property tax bills. It's an efficient business model that turns anxiety into recurring revenue. Most importantly, these private firms now hold the surveillance maps the government can no longer afford to maintain, using algorithms to calculate your safety compatibility before you even park your car. If this feels like a dystopian movie, look at New York City in the 1850s. Back then, fire departments were private volunteer crews that fought each other for hydrants while houses burned, because insurance companies only paid the crew that put the fire out. We moved to a tax-funded model because the private version destroyed the social contract. Now, 170 years later, that contract is officially glitching. We are repeating a chaotic history, but with better software. Tech leaders argue that software-defined security is the only way to restore order where state capacity has failed. Critics call this the secession of the successful, when the wealthy stop relying on public police because they've purchased gold zone protection, they lose the incentive to vote for the taxes that fund public systems. The loop closes, and the public system starves. Safety is no longer a right, it's a variable cost. Next time you see a safety compatibility score on a Zillow listing, remember that it's a price tag on your survival. If your credit score determines whether a medical drone reaches you in 3 minutes or 20, the algorithmic redlining of 2026 has arrived. What's the bottom line for your wallet? The security tax is the new mandatory utility. The average residential security subscription has climbed to $149 a month, a 210% increase in 2 years. If you live in an unsubscribed zone, your insurance company is likely hitting you with a 35% annual surcharge. They've done the actuarial math. The public police aren't coming, so they pass that risk directly to you. This is hollowing out middle-class spending, redirecting billions into peace-of-mind dividends for shareholders. Your heart rate and your zip code are now line items on a credit card statement. Real estate platforms like Redfin have already begun factoring these safety scores into home valuations. A house in a silver zone might be a bargain, but can you afford the insurance hike or the wait time? In the new economy, public peace has been replaced by private subscriptions. The siren you hear in the distance isn't for everyone. It's only for those whose payments are up to date. Peace of mind isn't a promise from your government anymore. In 2026, your life on a 3-minute timer is worth exactly $149 a month.